They laugh at the millionaire's paralyzed son at school, and he faints, crying in fear, until a poor 7-year-old girl changes that by protecting him. Before we tell this tale, hit like and tell us where you're from and one value that guides your life. The screams echoed through the elementary school hallway as 7-year-old William Hayes lay helpless on the cold linoleum floor. His wheelchair had been pushed over by 3 third-grade boys who now stood above him, laughing. William's legs, useless since birth due to spinal muscular atrophy, splayed awkwardly beneath him as tears streamed down his face. "Look at the baby crying!" jeered Trent, the ringleader with a crew cut and expensive sneakers. "I thought your daddy's money could fix anything, Richie Rich." William's father, Robert Hayes, was one of Boston's most prominent real estate developers. Their family lived in a mansion in Beacon Hill with housekeepers, drivers, and every luxury a child could imagine. But none of that mattered here at Lincoln Elementary, where William was just a frightened boy, unable to defend himself. "Please," William stammered, his voice barely audible through his sobs. His pristine uniform was now stained and wrinkled. "I just want to go to class." "What's that? Can't hear you." Trent knelt down, mockingly putting his ear near William's face. The other boys, Jackson and Pete, snickered, glancing around to make sure no teachers were coming. William closed his eyes. The familiar tightness gripped his chest, the beginning of a panic attack. His therapist had taught him breathing exercises, but nothing worked when terror took hold like this. Black spots appeared in his vision as his breathing became rapid and shallow. "Hey! Leave him alone!" The voice was small but fierce, cutting through William's fog of panic. Through tear-blurred eyes, he saw a tiny figure push between the bullies and stand protectively over him. It was a girl his age, though half his size. Her clothes were visibly worn, jeans with patches at the knees and a faded red sweater with frayed cuffs. Her brown hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her worn sneakers had holes at the toes. But her eyes, they blazed with a courage that made even Trent take a step back. "Mind your own business, Lily," Trent growled, recovering quickly, "unless you want trouble too." Lily Morales didn't budge. Despite being the poorest kid in their grade, the daughter of the school janitor and a hospital cleaner, she stood straight, hands on her hips. 3 against 1 who can't even stand up. That's not just mean. That's coward stuff, she said, her voice steady. And I'm telling Mrs. Patterson right now, unless you help him up and give back his wheelchair. The boys hesitated, looking at each other. Mrs. Patterson, the vice principal, was feared throughout the school for her zero-tolerance policy on bullying. "Whatever," Trent finally mumbled. "We were just joking around. He fell on his own." But Lily didn't move, staring them down until Jackson reluctantly righted the wheelchair. As the boys skulked away, Lily knelt beside William, who was still struggling to breathe. "You're having a panic attack," she said matter-of-factly. "My mom gets them too. Look at me. We're gonna breathe together, okay?" William's vision was tunneling, the hallway spinning around him. "William, look at me," Lily commanded, taking his trembling hands in hers. "Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. And out. Again." Somehow, her calm voice broke through his terror. After several minutes of guided breathing, William felt the tightness in his chest begin to ease. "How did you know what to do?" he whispered. Lily shrugged. "Like I said, my mom gets them." She glanced at his wheelchair. "Can you get back in by yourself? Or should I get help?" William flushed with embarrassment. "I need help," he admitted. Without hesitation, Lily went to find the school nurse, returning moments later. As the nurse helped William back into his chair, he couldn't take his eyes off the strange, brave girl who had saved him. "Thank you," he said softly as the nurse checked him for injuries. Lily smiled, revealing a missing front tooth. "I'm Lily Morales. You're in Mrs. Hughes's class too, right? The quiet kid who sits by the window." William nodded, surprised she had noticed him. "Well," said Lily, "you don't have to sit alone anymore." As the bell rang and students rushed to class, William felt something unfamiliar stir inside him. For the first time since starting school, he didn't feel alone. And for a boy who had everything money could buy, that feeling was worth more than all his father's millions. Neither child noticed the school security camera that had captured the entire incident, a recording that would soon change both their lives in ways they couldn't imagine. Principal Edwards rewound the security footage for the 5th time, watching as little Lily Morales stood up to 3 boys nearly twice her size. Beside him, Robert Hayes, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit worth more than the principal's monthly salary, sat rigid, his knuckles white as he gripped the armrests of his chair. "And this happens regularly?" Robert asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Principal Edwards shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Hayes, I assure you, we had no idea William was being bullied to this extent. He never reported anything." "Because he was terrified." Robert's composure cracked. "My son has been coming home with mysterious bruises for weeks. His therapist says his anxiety has worsened dramatically, and now I see why." He pointed at the screen, where William lay helpless on the floor. "What kind of school are you running, Edwards?" Before the principal could respond, there was a soft knock at the door. The school counselor entered with William and Lily. William's eyes widened when he saw his father. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Robert's expression softened immediately. He moved to kneel beside his son's wheelchair. "The school called me, buddy. They showed me what happened this morning." William's face crumpled. "I didn't want you to know, I thought you'd be disappointed that I couldn't stand up for myself." Robert pulled his son into a fierce hug. "William Daniel Hayes, I could never be disappointed in you. I'm angry at those boys and at myself for not realizing what was happening." Over his father's shoulder, William's eyes met Lily's. She stood awkwardly by the door, scuffing her worn shoe against the carpet. "Dad," William said, pulling back, "this is Lily. She's the one who helped me." Robert turned to look at the small girl. For a moment, he seemed at a loss for words. "You're the girl from the video. You stood up for my son when no one else would." Lily shrugged, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. "Anyone would have done it. But they didn't. You did." Robert approached her, then knelt to her level. "Thank you for protecting William." Principal Edwards cleared his throat. "Mr. Hayes, I've called the parents of the boys involved. They'll be suspended, and we'll be implementing additional supervision during breaks." Robert nodded curtly, his attention still on Lily. "Tell me, young lady, is there anything I can do to thank you? A new bicycle, perhaps? A computer?" Lily's eyes widened momentarily at the offer, but she shook her head. "No, thank you, sir. I don't need anything." Robert seemed surprised by her refusal. Few people ever turned down his money. "Well," the principal interjected, "it's nearly lunchtime. Lily, William, why don't you head to the cafeteria while I finish speaking with Mr. Hayes?" As the children left, Robert turned back to the principal. "I want to know everything about that girl's family situation." Meanwhile, in the hallway, William maneuvered his wheelchair alongside Lily. "You didn't have to say no to my dad. He really can get you anything you want." Lily looked at him curiously. "Is that what you think friends do, give each other stuff?" William frowned. "Friends?" "Yeah, friends." Lily stopped walking to face him. "Unless you don't want to be friends with someone like me." "Someone like you?" Lily gestured to her patched clothing. "You know, poor. My dad cleans this school at night, and my mum cleans at the hospital. We live in a tiny apartment in Dorchester. Kids like you don't usually want to be friends with kids like me." William stared at her, genuinely confused. "I've never had a real friend before. The only kids who ever talk to me either want to come to my house to see our indoor pool or they're like Trent." He hesitated. "Do you really want to be my friend, not because of my dad's money?" Lily grinned. "I don't care about your indoor pool, though," she added with a mischievous smile. "I've never actually been swimming before." William felt a smile spread across his face, the first genuine one in months. Well, you'll have to come over sometime. I take therapy swimming lessons 3 times a week. As they entered the cafeteria, the usual hush fell over the room as kids noticed William. But this time, instead of wheeling to an empty table in the corner, Lily led him confidently to where 2 other girls sat. "This is William," she announced. "He's sitting with us from now on." The girls made room without question, and for the first time since starting school, William found himself part of a group conversation, laughing at jokes and sharing his lunch. Across the cafeteria, Trent and his friends watched sullenly from their table where a teacher now sat monitoring them. William didn't notice his father standing in the doorway with the principal, watching as his isolated son blossomed in the company of his new friend. A friend whose family was about to receive an unexpected visit that evening. The Morales family apartment was on the 3rd floor of a weathered building in Dorchester. The hallways smelled of cooking spices, and the elevator had been out of service for months. Robert Hayes stood outside apartment 3C, feeling oddly nervous. Behind him, his driver and bodyguard, Marcus, waited patiently. "Are you sure about this, sir?" Marcus asked quietly. "I could have arranged a meeting at your office." Robert adjusted his tie. "No, I need to see how they live." He knocked, and moments later the door opened to reveal a slender woman with the same determined eyes as her daughter. Elena Morales wore hospital scrubs and looked exhausted, her hair pulled back in a practical bun. Her eyes widened at the sight of the obviously wealthy man at her door. "Mrs. Morales? I'm Robert Hayes, William's father. May I come in?" Elena hesitated only briefly before opening the door wider. "Of course, Mr. Hayes. Please excuse the mess. I just got home from my shift." The apartment was small but meticulously clean. Faded furniture showed signs of careful repair, and the walls were covered with Lily's artwork and school certificates. From a back room came the sound of a television and Lily's voice chatting with someone. My husband Miguel stood up, his face flushing. "Are you suggesting Mrs. Hughes deliberately sabotaged William's application?" "I'm not suggesting anything," Robert replied carefully. "I'm simply relaying what the admissions director told me." William looked between the adults, then at Lily, who appeared equally confused. "I don't want to go anymore," he announced suddenly. "William," his father began. "No, Dad. I don't want to go to a school that only wants me because of your money." William's eyes filled with tears. "They don't really want me. They want our donation." Lily immediately moved to her friend's side. "Then I won't go either. We'll stay at Lincoln together." "Absolutely not," Elena said firmly. "Lily, this is an opportunity you cannot pass up." "But, Mom, your mother is right," William interrupted, surprising everyone. "You have to go, Lily. You earned it." Lily stared at him. "But we're supposed to stay together. We're a team." William swallowed hard, remembering his father's words about true friendship sometimes meaning wanting what's best for the other person. "You deserve Westfield. You're the smartest kid in our class." "This is absurd," Robert interjected. "William, you're going to Westfield. I'll speak with the headmaster directly and ensure your application is reconsidered based solely on your merits." "That won't change anything," William said, with a wisdom beyond his years. "They'll still know it's only happening because you're making them do it." An uncomfortable silence fell over the room. The celebration they had anticipated had turned into something else entirely. Elena finally spoke. "Perhaps we should go home and discuss this as families. It's a big decision for both children." Robert nodded stiffly. "Of course. Williams has therapy for another hour anyway." As the Morales family prepared to leave, Lily hung back. "Can I talk to William alone for a minute?" The adults exchanged glances, then stepped outside, leaving the 2 children. "I meant what I said," Lily told William fiercely. "I won't go without you." William shook his head. "And I meant what I said. You have to go." He struggled to find the right words. My dad always says opportunities like this change lives. This could change yours. But what about you? Lily asked, her voice small. I'll be okay. William tried to smile. I'm not the same scared kid I was when we met. Thanks to you. Lily's eyes filled with tears. It's not fair. You're just as smart as me. You're just as deserving. Life isn't always fair, William said, echoing words he'd heard from his therapist. But we can still make the best of it. Lily threw her arms around him in a fierce hug. I'll come visit all the time, every weekend and holidays. You better, William whispered, hugging her back. Outside in the hallway, the adults were having their own tense conversation. Robert, Miguel began hesitantly, I hope you understand that we had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughes contacting Westfield. Of course not, Robert assured him. This isn't your fault. Nevertheless, Elena said, it puts us in an awkward position. If Lily attends and William doesn't, it could affect our children's friendship, Miguel finished, and potentially our working relationship. Robert ran a hand through his hair. Let me be clear. Your position is secure, regardless of what happens with the children's schooling. I separate personal and professional matters. But all three adults knew that wasn't entirely true. The relationship between their families had blurred those lines from the beginning. I'm not suggesting anything, Robert replied carefully. I'm simply relaying what the admissions director told me. William looked between the adults, then at Lily, who appeared equally confused. I don't want to go anymore, he announced suddenly. William, his father began. No, Dad, I don't want to go to a school that only wants me because of your money. William's eyes filled with tears. They don't really want me. They want our donation. Lily immediately moved to her friend's side. Then I won't go either. We'll stay at Lincoln together. Absolutely not, Elena said firmly. Lily, this is an opportunity you cannot pass up. But, Mom, your mother is right, William interrupted, surprising everyone. You have to go, Lily. You earned it. Lily stared at him. But we're supposed to stay together. We're a team. William swallowed hard, remembering his father's words about true friendship, sometimes meaning wanting what's best for the other person. You deserve Westfield. You're the smartest kid in our class. This is absurd, Robert interjected. William, you're going to Westfield. I'll speak with the headmaster directly and ensure your application is reconsidered based solely on your merits. That won't change anything, William said with a wisdom beyond his years. They'll still know it's only happening because you're making them do it. An uncomfortable silence fell over the room. The celebration they had anticipated had turned into something else entirely. Elena finally spoke. Perhaps we should go home and discuss this as families. It's a big decision for both children. Robert nodded stiffly. Of course, Williams has therapy for another hour anyway. As the Morales family prepared to leave, Lily hung back. Can I talk to William alone for a minute? The adults exchanged glances, then stepped outside, leaving the two children. I meant what I said, Lily told William fiercely. I won't go without you. William shook his head. And I meant what I said. You have to go. He struggled to find the right words. My dad always says opportunities like this change lives. This could change yours. But what about you? Lily asked, her voice small. I'll be okay. William tried to smile. I'm not the same scared kid I was when we met, thanks to you. Lily's eyes filled with tears. It's not fair. You're just as smart as me. You're just as deserving. Life isn't always fair, William said, echoing words he'd heard from his therapist, but we can still make the best of it. Lily threw her arms around him in a fierce hug. I'll come visit all the time, every weekend and holidays. You better, William whispered, hugging her back. Outside in the hallway, the adults were having their own tense conversation. Robert, Miguel began hesitantly, I hope you understand that we had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughes contacting Westfield. Of course not, Robert assured him. This isn't your fault. Nevertheless, Elena said, it puts us in an awkward position. If Lily attends and William doesn't, it could affect our children's friendship, Miguel finished, and potentially our working relationship. Robert ran a hand through his hair. Let me be clear. Your position is secure, regardless of what happens with the children's schooling. I separate personal and professional matters. But all three adults knew that wasn't entirely true. The relationship between their families had blurred those lines from the beginning. We should go, Elena said finally. Lily needs time to process this. As the Morales family drove home in their modest used car, the one luxury Miguel had refused from Robert was a company vehicle. Lily sat silently in the back seat, clutching her acceptance letter. Mija, Elena began gently, this is an incredible opportunity for you. I know, Lily mumbled. William will understand, Miguel added. He wants what's best for you. Lily looked out the window at the passing Boston skyline. It's not fair. They only rejected him because Mrs. Hughes told them his dad was buying his way in. Eleanor exchanged a glance with Miguel. Perhaps, she said carefully, there was some truth to her concern. What do you mean? Lily demanded. Nothing, Miguel said quickly. Your mother just means that sometimes wealthy families do have different paths to these exclusive schools. But William deserves to go on his own, Lily insisted. He's really smart and works super hard. It's not easy for him with his disability. Back at the Hayes mansion, Robert was on the phone again, this time with his lawyer. I want to know exactly what Mrs. Hughes said to Westfield, and I want it in writing. Yes, I understand it's Saturday. Make it happen. William sat nearby, still in his bathrobe from the pool. Dad, please don't make a big deal about this. Robert set his phone down. William, this is discrimination. They're judging you based on our family name rather than your abilities. But isn't that what you wanted? William asked quietly. You called Westfield before we even applied. You arranged everything. Robert looked startled. How did you know that? I heard you talking to Mr. Daniels, William admitted, referring to Robert's attorney. You said you were making arrangements for both of us. Robert sighed, sitting down beside his son. I wanted to ensure you both had the opportunity. That's different from buying your acceptance. Is it? William challenged, surprising his father with his perception. Lily got in because she's brilliant. I got in because you're Robert Hayes. Son, it's okay, Dad, William said, sounding far older than his 8 years. I understand how the world works, but I don't have to like it. He gripped the wheels of his chair. And I don't have to go to Westfield. As evening fell over Boston, both children lay awake in their beds, miles apart, yet united in their distress. The acceptance letters that should have brought joy had instead introduced them to the harsh realities of a world where privilege, class, and perception created barriers as real as any physical disability. Neither knew that across town, Mrs. Hughes sat at her kitchen table, rereading the email she had sent to Westfield's admissions committee weeks earlier. She had acted out of a genuine concern for fairness, never anticipating the consequences her intervention would have on two children she deeply cared about. And in his home office, Robert Hayes was placing one final call of the day to Westfield Academy's biggest donor and board chairman, a longtime business associate who owed him several favors. If the system was rigged anyway, Robert reasoned, he might as well rig it in his son's favor, for William's sake, for both children's sake. By Monday morning, the lives of both families would be forever altered by the decisions being made that night, decisions rooted in love, pride, fairness, and the complicated ways in which privilege and opportunity intertwined in their world. Is home with Lily, Elena explained, gesturing to the couch. Can I offer you some coffee? Thank you, that would be nice. Robert sat, taking in the humble surroundings. The coffee table had water rings and a chip in one corner. A basket of mending sat nearby, socks with holes waiting to be darned, signs of a family stretching every dollar. Elena returned with coffee in mismatched mugs. As she sat across from him, Lily emerged from the back room with a thin man who walked with a pronounced limp. "Dad, look! It's William's father!" Lily exclaimed. Miguel Morales moved forward, extending his hand. "Sir, welcome to our home. Lily has told us about your son." As they shook hands, Robert noticed the calluses on Miguel's palm and the slight wince as the man lowered himself into a chair. "I'll get straight to the point," Robert said. "Your daughter did something extraordinary today. She showed courage that many adults lack. I want to express my gratitude." Lily has always had a strong sense of justice," Miguel said proudly, resting his hand on his daughter's shoulder. Robert nodded. "I'd like to offer your family something. No, not charity," he added quickly, seeing Miguel stiffen. "An opportunity. I understand you're the night janitor at Lincoln Elementary." Miguel nodded cautiously. "For 6 years now, since my accident at the construction site." "And you clean at Boston Memorial?" Robert asked Elena. "Night shift, yes. It lets me see Lily off to school in the mornings before I sleep." Robert leaned forward. "I'm developing a new residential building in Back Bay, luxury condominiums. I need a property manager, someone who understands maintenance, who's meticulous, and who has integrity. The position comes with an apartment in the building." The room fell silent. Miguel and Elena exchanged glances. "Mr. Hayes?" Miguel began carefully. "I appreciate the offer, but I have no experience managing property. You maintained an entire school building. You understand systems, scheduling, and dealing with problems promptly. The technical aspects can be learned." Robert placed his card on the table. "The salary is triple what you make now, with health benefits that would cover all of you." Elena's hand trembled as she reached for her coffee. "Why would you do this for us?" Robert looked at Lily, who was watching the adults with curious eyes. "Because your daughter showed my son the only genuine kindness he's experienced at that school, and because I believe in recognizing good people when I find them." "And if it doesn't work out?" Miguel asked bluntly. "Then you return to your current jobs with a recommendation from me and 3 months' salary as severance." Robert stood. "Think about it. Call me tomorrow." As he turned to leave, Lily stepped forward. "Mr. Hayes, how is William? Is he okay after what happened?" Robert smiled down at her. "He's better than okay. He asked if you could come for a swimming lesson this weekend, with your parents' permission, of course." Lily's face lit up. "Can I, Mom? Dad? Please?" Miguel nodded slowly. "We'll discuss it, pequeña." At the door, Elena touched Robert's arm. "Mr. Hayes, your offer is very generous. But I have to ask, is this only because Lily helped your son?" Robert considered the question. "Mrs. Morales, I have hundreds of employees. I don't make offers like this lightly. Your daughter's actions made me look at your family, but it's your obvious work ethic and character that prompted my offer." He paused. "And selfishly, I want Lily to remain in William's life. He needs a friend like her." After Robert left, the Morales family sat in stunned silence until Miguel finally spoke. "It could be a chance for a better life. Or it could be a rich man's temporary gratitude," Elena countered. "What happens when he no longer needs us?" Lily looked between her parents. "William really doesn't have any friends, Mom. The other kids are mean because he can't walk, or they only talk to him because he's rich." "And what about you, Lily?" Miguel asked gently. "Why do you want to be his friend?" Lily thought for a moment. "Because he looked scared and alone. And nobody should feel that way." Elena and Miguel exchanged looks over their daughter's head, a silent understanding passing between them. Their child, who had so little herself, had the biggest heart they'd ever known. And perhaps that was worth taking a chance on. Across town, in his penthouse office overlooking Boston Harbor, Robert Hayes made another call, this one to his attorney. "Frank, I need you to set up a trust fund. No, not for William, for a girl named Lily Morales. but keep it quiet. I don't want her family to know yet." Meanwhile, William sat in his bedroom, surrounded by every toy and gadget a boy could want, thinking only of the girl with the patched jeans and the fiercest courage he'd ever see. 3 months later, the Morales family moved into their new apartment in the Hayes luxury residences. The 2-bedroom unit on the 10th floor featured floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Charles River, granite countertops, and brand-new appliances. Luxuries they'd never imagined owning. Miguel had excelled in his training, his meticulous attention to detail making him an ideal property manager. Elena had reduced her hours at the hospital to part-time, finally able to be home when Lily returned from school. For William, these months had brought transformation. The bullies had been suspended, then placed in different classrooms upon return. More importantly, he now had friends. Real friends who came to his table at lunch without prompting, who included him in games adapted so he could participate from his wheelchair, and who treated his disability as simply another fact about him, like his blonde hair or blue eyes. At the center of this change was Lily, who came to the Hayes mansion every Saturday for swimming lessons with William's physical therapist. In the heated indoor pool, Lily had learned to swim, while William gained strength in his upper body. Robert often watched from his home office window as the children splashed and laughed, his son's face animated in a way he'd rarely seen before. Today was special, William's 8th birthday party. For the first time, he had asked for a real party with friends from school, not just relatives and his parents' business associates. "Dad, do you think kids will actually come?" William asked as their chef arranged an elaborate superhero-themed cake on the dining room table. Robert knelt beside his son's wheelchair. "Buddy, we've already got 12 RSVPs. Your friends are excited." William fidgeted with the controls of his chair. "What if they're just coming for the pool and the presents?" Robert sighed. His son's insecurities ran deep. "William, you've been having playdates with these kids for months now. They come because they like you." The doorbell rang, and William's face lit up. "That must be Lily. I told her to come early." Indeed, Lily bounded in, followed by her parents, who still looked somewhat uncomfortable in the massive Hayes mansion. Lily carried a small, carefully wrapped package. "Happy birthday, William." She thrust the gift toward him. "Open it now before everyone else comes." Inside was a hand-drawn comic book titled Wheelchair Wonder and His Sidekick Spark, a superhero story featuring characters who looked remarkably like William and Lily, fighting bullies and saving the day. "I made it myself," Lily said proudly. Each page took forever. William carefully turned the pages, emotion welling in his eyes. "This is the best present ever," he whispered. Over the next hour, children arrived with their parents, many of whom were clearly curious to see the inside of the famous Hayes mansion. Robert noticed how the other parents subtly assessed the Morales family, clearly wondering about their place in this wealthy setting. As the children played party games adapted for William's participation, Robert found himself standing next to Elena Morales. "Your daughter has changed his life," Robert said quietly. Elena nodded. "And your generosity has changed ours." She hesitated, "though I worry sometimes about the differences, our worlds." Eventually, children notice these things. Robert watched as Lily helped distribute cake to the other children, making sure William got the first piece. "Perhaps, but I think those two have something special." The party moved to the pool area, where William's physical therapist supervised the swimming. Children splashed and played, while William moved through the water with the freedom his legs never allowed him on land. In the pool, his disability was less apparent, his movements more fluid. From the edge, Robert observed his son laughing with friends, something he'd feared might never happen. Beside William was Lily, always Lily, her fierce protectiveness now tempered with genuine friendship. Later, as children were collected by their parents, Robert overheard a conversation between two mothers. It's odd, isn't it? The Hayes boy being so close with the janitor's daughter. I heard Robert Hayes gave her father a job. Charity case, obviously. Well, the girl did stand up for his son. I suppose he felt obligated. Robert stepped forward, making his presence known. Ladies, I'd like to clarify something. Miguel Morales was hired because of his exceptional skills and work ethic. His daughter's friendship with my son is a separate blessing for which I'm profoundly grateful. The women flushed with embarrassment and quickly exited with their children. After everyone had left except the Morales family, William asked if Lily could stay for a movie. The parents agreed, and the children settled in the home theater room while the adults conversed in Robert's study. People talk, Miguel said bluntly. At the building, they say I only got the position because of Lily and William. Robert leaned back in his chair. Does it bother you? Miguel considered this. Not if it isn't true. It isn't, Robert assured him. Your performance reviews prove that. You've already saved us money with your maintenance scheduling improvements. In the theater room, William and Lily were having their own conversation as the movie played in the background. Trent said your dad only likes my family because he feels sorry for us, Lily mentioned casually. He said rich people sometimes adopt poor families to feel good about themselves. William frowned. That's not true. My dad respects your dad a lot. He says he wishes more of his employees were as dedicated. Lily pulled her knees to her chest. But what if we didn't meet the way we did? Would your dad have ever noticed my dad's dedication if I hadn't helped you that day? William had no answer for that. Instead, he changed the subject. I loved your comic book. Could we make more together? I can't draw, but I have good ideas for stories. Lily brightened. Yeah, we could make a whole series. As the movie ended, neither child was aware of the complex adult world swirling around them, of class differences, perceptions, and the delicate balance Robert Hayes was trying to maintain between genuine opportunity and perceived charity. They only knew that they had found in each other something neither had before. William had found courage through Lily's example, and Lily had found a friend who saw beyond her worn clothes to the person beneath. What none of them realized was that the dynamics of their unusual friendship would soon be tested in ways none of them could anticipate. The November wind cut sharply across the playground as William watched Lily dominate the kickball game from his wheelchair on the sidelines. 8 months had passed since she had first defended him, and life had settled into a comfortable routine. 3 times a week, the Hayes family driver would take William to school, picking up Lily from the luxury apartment building where her family now lived. On weekends, Lily came to the Hayes mansion for swimming and play dates. She's something else, isn't she? William turned to find Mrs. Hughes, their teacher, standing beside him. She had wrapped her scarf tighter against the cold. Lily's the best athlete in our grade, William said proudly. Mrs. Hughes nodded. Not just that. She has an extraordinary heart. And she's quite bright. Did you know she's reading 2 grade levels above? William wasn't surprised. Lily devoured the books in his father's extensive library whenever she visited. The scholarship committee will be meeting next month, Mrs. Hughes continued casually, for the Westfield Academy spots. William's interest peaked. Westfield Academy was the most prestigious private school in Boston, and Lincoln Elementary nominated 2 students each year for full scholarships. You think Lily could get it? He asked. Her grades and character make her an excellent candidate, but it's competitive. Mrs. Hughes hesitated. William, has your father ever considered Westfield for you? Many of their facilities are fully accessible now. William shook his head. Dad wanted me at a public school. He said it would be good for me to know different kinds of people. In truth, William suspected his father had chosen Lincoln Elementary precisely because it was in the district where the Morales family had lived, after researching Lily's background. The bell rang, ending recess. As the children lined up, Trent, who had mostly kept his distance since the incident, bumped deliberately into Lily. "Watch it, charity case," he muttered. Lily ignored him, but William saw her shoulders tense. The term had been thrown at her increasingly often as the friendship between the two families became more widely known. That afternoon, as they rode home in Robert Hayes's town car, William broached the subject. "Mrs. Hughes thinks you might get nominated for the Westfield Scholarship." Lily looked up from her book. "Really? That would be amazing, but—" Her excitement dimmed. Would that mean going to different schools? The thought hadn't occurred to William, and his stomach knotted. "I guess it would." "Then I wouldn't accept it," Lily said immediately. "We're a team." William felt simultaneous warmth and discomfort. "You can't turn down Westfield. It's the best school." "Says who? The rich kids?" Lily challenged. "Besides, I like Lincoln. I have friends there. You're there." The car pulled up to the Hayes luxury residences, where Lily now lived on the 10th floor. As she gathered her backpack, William made a decision. "I'll ask my dad about Westfield. Maybe I could go too." Lily brightened. "That would be awesome. Then we'd both get a fancy education." She adopted a mock posh accent, making William laugh. That evening, William approached his father in his home office. Robert was reviewing blueprints for a new development, but set them aside when his son entered. "Dad, what do you know about Westfield Academy?" Robert raised an eyebrow. "One of the finest private schools in New England. Why do you ask?" William explained about the scholarship nominations and Lily's potential candidacy. "Mrs. Hughes thinks Lily could get it, but then we'd be at different schools. I thought maybe I could go to Westfield too." Robert studied his son thoughtfully. "Is that what you want? You've been doing well at Lincoln." "Only because of Lily," William admitted. "She makes me brave." Robert sighed. "Son, part of growing up is developing your own courage. Lily showed you it's possible, but you can't depend on her forever." "I don't depend on her," William protested. "We're friends. We help each other." Robert moved from behind his desk to kneel beside William's wheelchair. "Of course you do, and that's wonderful. But William, have you considered that Westfield might be an extraordinary opportunity for Lily, one that her family could never afford without the scholarship?" William hadn't thought of it that way. "So you think she should go, even if we're separated?" "I think," Robert said carefully, "that true friendship sometimes means wanting what's best for the other person, even when it's difficult for us." William was silent for a long moment. "Could you at least look into Westfield for me, to see if I could go too?" Robert nodded. "I'll make some calls tomorrow." Across town, a similar conversation was happening in the Morales apartment. Westfield Academy. Miguel looked up from his dinner in surprise. "That's for wealthy families. They offer 2 scholarships each year," Lily explained excitedly. "Mrs. Hughes thinks I might get nominated." Elena and Miguel exchanged glances. "That would be a wonderful opportunity," Elena said cautiously. "But what about your friends at Lincoln? What about William?" "That's the problem," Lily sighed. "I told William I wouldn't go without him, but he's going to ask his dad if he can go too." Miguel set down his fork. "Lily, listen to me. If you're offered this scholarship, you must accept it. This is the kind of opportunity that changes lives." "But William has every advantage already," Elena said gently. "His father can send him to any school in the country. This may be your only chance at such an education." Lily pushed her food around her plate. "It feels wrong. Like I'd be abandoning him." "You wouldn't be," Miguel assured her. "You could still see him after school, on weekends." "It wouldn't be the same," Lily insisted. Later that night, after Lily had gone to bed, Elena voiced her deeper concern to Miguel. "I worry about her attachment to the Hayes boy. She feels responsible for him." Miguel nodded. "They've become like family to us. Robert Hayes changed our lives." "Yes, but at what cost?" Elena whispered. "I sometimes feel we're living in a golden cage. This apartment, your job, everything dependent on the goodwill of one man. I've earned my position, Miguel said firmly. Of course you have. But what happens if Lily and William have a falling out? What happens if Robert Hayes decides his son's friendship with a janitor's daughter is no longer appropriate as they get older? Miguel had no answer, but the question hung in the air between them. The next morning, Robert Hayes made 2 phone calls. The first was to Westfield Academy, where his family name opened doors immediately. The second was to his attorney. Frank, remember that trust fund we set up for the Morales girl? I want to activate it early, specifically for education. And I'll need to make arrangements with Westfield to ensure both children's applications are considered together. 3 days later, both William and Lily received official letters from Westfield Academy inviting them to apply for admission for the following academic year. As William excitedly showed his letter to Lily on the school playground, neither child noticed Mrs. Hughes watching from a distance, a troubled expression on her face. Later that day, she placed a call to the Westfield admissions office, asking pointed questions about their sudden interest in William Hayes, a student who had never been on their radar before. The seeds of conflict had been planted, though the children remained blissfully unaware that their friendship was about to face its greatest test yet. The letter arrived on a Saturday morning in January, nearly 2 months after William and Lily had submitted their applications to Westfield Academy. William was in the middle of his physical therapy session in the pool when his father entered the aquatics room, holding an envelope with the Westfield seal. "It came," Robert announced, waving the envelope. "Should we open it now or wait for Lily?" William pulled himself to the edge of the pool. "Let's wait. Lily should be here soon." As if on cue, they heard Maria, the housekeeper, greeting the Morales family. Moments later, Lily burst into the pool area, her own envelope clutched tightly in her hand. "Did you get yours too?" she called excitedly. "Mom said we have to open them together." Elena and Miguel followed more sedately, nodding respectfully to Robert. Despite months of friendly interaction, there remained a subtle formality between the adults, the invisible line between employer and employee never quite disappearing. "Let's dry you off first," Robert said to William, helping the physical therapist lift him from the pool into his specialized waterproof wheelchair. Once William was wrapped in a towel, the group moved to the adjacent sitting area. "On 3, Lily suggested, positioning her envelope next to William's. 1, 2, 3. They tore open their envelopes simultaneously. William scanned his letter quickly, his expression shifting from excitement to confusion. "I got in," he said flatly. "Me too." Lily exclaimed, jumping up. "We both got in. We'll be going to Westfield together." She stopped, noticing William's subdued reaction. "Aren't you excited?" William handed his letter to his father, who read it carefully, his face darkening. "What is it?" Elena asked, sensing the tension. Robert hesitated. "William has been accepted, but not on his own merits." "What does that mean?" Miguel pressed. "The letter states explicitly that William's acceptance is conditional upon." Robert paused, choosing his words carefully. "Upon a significant donation I apparently made to their new accessible facilities wing." The room fell silent. Lily looked confused. "But that's good, right? They're making the school better for kids like William." "No, it's not good," William said, his voice trembling slightly. "They're saying I only got in because my dad gave them money, not because I deserved it." "That's ridiculous," Lily protested. "You're super smart. Your science project won first place." Elena gently took Lily's acceptance letter and read it. "Lily has been accepted on full academic scholarship," she confirmed, looking relieved. "Of course she has," Robert said tightly. "Lily earned her place." He pulled out his phone. "Excuse me, I need to make a call." As Robert stepped away, Miguel knelt beside William's chair. "William, listen to me. Schools like Westfield, they have different paths for different students. That doesn't mean you didn't earn your place." But William wasn't listening. His eyes were fixed on Lily's acceptance letter, which clearly praised her academic achievements and character. His own letter mentioned only his father's generous contribution to inclusivity. When Robert returned, his expression was grim. "I just spoke with the admissions director. Apparently Mrs. Hughes from Lincoln Elementary contacted them with concerns that William's application was receiving special consideration because of our family name." "She what?" Lily gasped. "But she's the one who told us about the scholarships in the first place." "It seems," Robert continued carefully, "she was concerned about the fairness of the process, particularly after learning both of you had received application invitations outside the normal channels." Miguel Monday morning brought a surprising development. As William's driver pulled up to Lincoln Elementary, he spotted Lily waiting at the entrance, her face set in determination. "You're not supposed to be here," William said, as he was lowered from the van in his wheelchair. "You should be getting ready for Westfield." Lily crossed her arms. "I told them no. I'm staying at Lincoln." "What? Lily, you can't." "Already did." She handed him a folded paper, her rejection letter to Westfield. "I wrote it myself. Mom and Dad are mad, but they said it's my choice." William felt a complex mixture of emotions, joy at not being separated from his friend, but guilt at what she was giving up. "Your parents let you do this?" "Not exactly." Lily bit her lip. "Dad said I'm throwing away my future, and Mom cried, but I told them I wasn't going without you, and that's final." "My dad's going to be furious," William whispered. "Probably," Lily agreed. "But what can they do? Force me to go?" The school day passed in a blur of whispers and stares. Everyone had heard about the Westfield scholarships, and now the news of Lily's rejection was spreading. That afternoon, as expected, both sets of parents were waiting when school let out. Robert Hayes stood beside his town car, expression thunderous. Miguel and Elena Morales looked worn and defeated. "In the car, both of you," Robert commanded. The drive to the Hayes mansion was silent. Upon arrival, Robert led everyone to his study. "Explain yourself, young lady," he said once the door closed. Lily stood tall. "I'm not going to a school that rejected William for stupid reasons." "This isn't about William," Eleanor said gently. "This is about your future." "What kind of future starts with leaving my best friend behind?" Lily challenged. Robert sighed deeply. "I've spent all day on the phone with Westfield's board. They've agreed to reconsider William's application properly this time." William's head snapped up. "Really?" "Yes, but that's not all." Robert's expression softened. "Mrs. Hughes called me this morning. She feels terrible about what happened. She genuinely thought she was protecting the fairness of the process, not realizing the implications." "So, I can go to Westfield too?" William asked cautiously. Robert nodded. "If that's what you want. And not because of my money, but because of your academic record, which they've now properly reviewed." Lily's face lit up. "See, I knew you deserved it." Then she frowned. "Wait, does this mean I have to unreject them?" The adults couldn't help but laugh, breaking the tension. Miguel knelt beside his daughter. "Mija, your loyalty is admirable, but never again make such a decision without talking to us first." William reached for Lily's hand. "We're really going to Westfield together?" "Looks like it," she grinned. "Wheelchair Wonder and Spark take on the fancy school." As the adults discussed logistics, the children exchanged triumphant smiles. They had faced their first major challenge as friends and emerged victorious. Neither suspected how much harder the tests ahead would be. August brought sweltering heat to Boston and the first day at Westfield Academy for William and Lily. The imposing brick buildings with their manicured lawns felt worlds away from Lincoln Elementary's weathered playground. "I don't belong here," Lily whispered as they approached the entrance. Her navy uniform blazer, purchased second-hand but meticulously pressed by Elena, hung slightly loose on her small frame. "And neither do I," William replied, adjusting his tie nervously. "But we'll figure it out together." The administration had placed them in the same class, an arrangement Robert Hayes had quietly ensured. As they entered their classroom, 20 pairs of curious eyes turned toward them, their teacher, Ms. Abernathy was a tall woman with kind eyes behind stylish glasses. "Class, please welcome our new students, William Hayes and Lily Morales." A boy in the front row raised his eyebrows. "Hayes? Like Hayes Developments?" William nodded reluctantly, already seeing the familiar calculation in his classmates' expressions. "My father says your dad owns half of downtown," the boy continued. "James," Miss Abernathy warned, "that's hardly a proper welcome." During morning break, William and Lily sat alone at a bench beneath an oak tree. "They're all staring at us," Lily muttered. "At me," William corrected. "They're wondering why I'm in a wheelchair." "And at me," Lily added. "They're wondering why I'm hanging out with you when I'm not rich." A girl with sleek brown hair approached them. "Hi, I'm Charlotte. Want to see the library? It's amazing." Surprised, they followed her. Charlotte moved with the easy confidence of someone who had always belonged in places like Westfield. "Everyone's curious about you two," Charlotte explained as they toured the impressive library. "The Hayes heir and the scholarship girl who turned Westfield down for him. It's like a movie." William groaned. "Great. We're already gossip." "Don't worry," Charlotte smiled. "By next week someone else will do something interesting." She studied them curiously. "Is it true you two met when she beat up some bullies for you?" "She didn't beat anyone up," William said. "I would have," Lily grinned, making Charlotte laugh. By lunchtime, Charlotte had introduced them to her friends, other third graders from various backgrounds. William was surprised to discover that Westfield wasn't just filled with wealthy kids. Nearly a quarter of students attended on scholarships. As they headed to afternoon classes, William caught Lily's eye. "Maybe this won't be so bad after all." Lily nodded, but her expression remained cautious. "Maybe. But remember what my dad always says, don't judge a place by its first impression." It was advice that would prove prophetic in the months to come. By December, Westfield had settled into a complicated routine for William and Lily. Academically, both thrived, William excelling in sciences, Lily in literature and history. They had made friends, particularly through Charlotte's welcoming circle, but beneath the surface, tensions simmered. The class had subtly divided, with most wealthy students gravitating toward William because of his family name, while scholarship students connected more with Lily. Only Charlotte moved easily between both worlds. "It's the winter charity gala this weekend," Charlotte mentioned during lunch. "Is your family coming, William?" William nodded. The Hayes family attended every year. "My dad always buys a table." "What about you, Lily?" Charlotte asked. Lily shook her head. "Not really my scene." What Lily didn't say was that Miguel had been asked to supervise the catering staff for the event, a request that blurred the already complicated lines between the Hayes and Morales families. That afternoon, waiting for their rides home, William broached the subject. "You should come to the gala as our guest." "And watch my dad serve drinks to your dad's friends. No thanks." Lily's tone was sharper than intended. William flinched. "I didn't think about that." "That's the problem," Lily sighed. "You don't have to think about these things." An uncomfortable silence fell between them, happening more frequently lately as class differences became harder to ignore. "I heard Jason's having a birthday party at the country club," Lily said finally. "Are you going?" William hesitated. "He invited me, but not me," Lily finished. "It's fine." But it wasn't fine, and both knew it. That weekend, William attended the gala with his father, dressed in a custom suit that accommodated his wheelchair. From across the glittering ballroom, he spotted Miguel in a service uniform, efficiently directing the waitstaff. Their eyes met briefly, Miguel giving a small nod before returning to work. William felt a sharp pang, suddenly seeing the event through Lily's eyes, the stark division between those served and those serving. During dinner, William listened to his father's business associates discuss their children's accomplishments. "William's becoming quite the scientist," Robert said proudly. "His teacher says he has a gift for engineering." "And that little friend of his?" asked Mrs. Whitmore, wife of a prominent banker. "The scholarship girl?" "Lily," William interjected. "Her name is Lily." "Yes, of course," Mrs. Whitmore smiled thinly. "You two are still close?" The question carried unspoken implications that even William, at 8 years old, could detect. Later, as Miguel helped gather empty champagne glasses, William maneuvered his wheelchair beside him. "Mr. Morales, I miss hanging out at your apartment. Everything's different now." Miguel's expression softened. "Growing up means navigating complicated waters, William, but true friendship can weather any storm." William considered this. "Lily's mad at me a lot lately." "Not at you," Miguel corrected gently, "at situations neither of you created." As William rejoined his father, he wondered if their friendship was strong enough for the increasingly complex world they were entering, a world where class differences couldn't be erased by good intentions alone. Spring arrived with cherry blossoms and increasing tension. William and Lily's friendship had become strained, their once easy companionship now punctuated by awkward silences and occasional arguments. The catalyst came during Ms. Abernathy's Family Heritage Project. Students were to research their family history and create presentations. "I can trace my family back to the Mayflower," boasted James during planning discussions. "My grandmother was ambassador to France," added another boy. When attention turned to Lily, she simply said, "My grandparents came from Mexico. They were farm workers." "Like illegal immigrants?" James asked with feigned innocence. "They had green cards," Lily snapped, flushing with anger. "James," Miss Abernathy intervened, "that's entirely inappropriate." But the damage was done. The classroom had fallen silent, the divide between worlds suddenly painfully visible. William, sitting across the room with his science project partners, had heard everything but said nothing, frozen by his desire to defend Lily and his reluctance to alienate his new friends. At lunch, Lily sat with Charlotte instead of their usual table. "Why are you avoiding me?" William asked when he finally caught up with her after school. "You heard what James said. You didn't say anything." "I didn't know what to say," William admitted. "How about shut up, James? Or anything besides sitting there looking uncomfortable?" William felt defensive. "It's not my fault James is a jerk." "No, but it's your choice to hang out with him and his friends instead of standing up for me." Lily shouldered her backpack. "My dad says I need to remember where I come from. Maybe you should remember who your real friends are." That evening, William confronted his father. "Why is everything so complicated now? Lily's mad because I didn't defend her today, but if I had, the other kids might have stopped talking to me." Robert set aside his papers. "Son, you're learning a difficult lesson about privilege. You can choose your friends regardless of their background. Lily doesn't have that luxury." "That's not fair." "No, it's not," Robert agreed. "The question is, what are you going to do about it?" The next morning, William arrived at school early, a plan forming. When James entered the classroom, William called him over. "I need to talk to you about yesterday," William said firmly. "What you said to Lily about her grandparents was wrong." James shrugged. "It was just a joke. It wasn't funny." "And if you want to be my friend, you don't talk to her like that again." James looked surprised. "Why do you care so much about the cleaning lady's daughter?" William's hands tightened on his wheelchair armrests. "Because she was my friend when no one else was. Because she's worth 10 of you. And because her name is Lily, not the cleaning lady's daughter." As other students filtered in, William continued, his voice carrying. "And her dad isn't just a cleaning man. He manages one of my father's buildings and does it better than most college graduates." When Lily arrived, she found the classroom atmosphere had shifted. James avoided her gaze, while William sat tall in his wheelchair, a new confidence in his posture. "What happened?" she whispered as she took her seat. "I remembered who my real friends are," William replied simply. Summer vacation brought welcome relief from Westfield's social politics. William and Lily rekindled their friendship during long days of swimming in the Hayes pool and exploring Boston's museums, with William's driver chauffeuring them. "I miss this," William said one July afternoon as they floated in the pool. His arms had grown stronger over the year, allowing him greater mobility in the water. "Just us, without all the school drama," Lily nodded, floating beside him. "Me too. Westfield's intense. Are you still glad we went?" Lily considered this. "The education is amazing, but sometimes I feel like an imposter there." "You earned your place," William insisted. "I know, but earning something doesn't always mean you belong." This insight, profound for a 9-year-old, gave William pause. "Do you think I belong there?" "You're a Hayes. You belong anywhere with a donor wall." Seeing his expression fall, Lily splashed him playfully. "I'm kidding. You belong wherever you decide to put down roots." The conversation shifted to their upcoming 3rd grade year. Ms. Abernathy had been promoted to 4th grade and would remain their teacher, providing welcome continuity. "Charlotte's having a birthday party next week," William mentioned. "At her lake house. She invited both of us." "Both?" Lily looked surprised. "She's always invited both of us. You're the one who keeps saying no." This was true. Lily had declined numerous invitations from their wealthier classmates, uncomfortable with the lavish settings and unspoken expectations. "Maybe I'll go this time," she said thoughtfully. "Charlotte's different from the others." The week brought another development. Miguel Morales was offered a promotion, facilities director for all Hayes properties in Boston. The position came with a significant salary increase and a larger apartment. "Dad's really excited," Lily told William. "He'll be managing teams now, not just one building." "That's awesome. Is he taking it?" Lily nodded. "But he and Mom had a big argument about it first. Mom thinks we're becoming too dependent on your family." William frowned. "But it's just a job he's really good at." "It's complicated," Lily sighed, echoing the adults in their lives. "Mom says every opportunity comes with strings." Before William could respond, Robert Hayes entered the pool area. "Having fun, kids? Lily, I just spoke with your father about his promotion. He's going to be an incredible asset to the executive team." "Thank you, Mr. Hayes," Lily replied politely. After Robert left, William noticed Lily's troubled expression. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," she said quickly. "Race you to the deep end." But as she swam away, William recognized her deflection. Something was shifting between their families again, something the children could sense but not fully understand. That night, William overheard his father on the phone with his attorney. "The trust fund for Lily Morales, I want to increase it. College won't get cheaper, and that girl has potential that shouldn't be limited by finances." William wheeled quietly back to his room, pondering the complex web of privilege, opportunity, and indebtedness that surrounded his friendship with Lily, and wondering if they could ever truly be equals in a world that insisted on divisions. The crisp September air heralded their return to Westfield. Now 9 years old and entering 3rd grade, William and Lily had developed strategies for navigating the school's social landscape together. The summer had changed them both. William had grown taller, his upper body stronger from intensive swimming therapy. Lily had blossomed academically, devouring books from the Hayes Library and developing a passion for writing. As they entered Ms. Abernathy's 4th grade classroom, they were greeted warmly by Charlotte and most of their classmates. Even James nodded respectfully, William's confrontation the previous spring having reset their dynamic. "Welcome back, everyone," Ms. Abernathy smiled. "This year, we'll be focusing on community and cooperation. Our first project involves paired research on influential partnerships throughout history." She began assigning pairs, eventually reaching William and Lily. "You two work so well together, I considered pairing you," she admitted. "But I think you'll both benefit from collaborating with different classmates this time." William was matched with James, while Lily partnered with Charlotte. The pairings were strategic, building bridges across the social divides that had formed the previous year. During lunch, Charlotte approached their table excitedly. "Guess what? My mum's organizing the Fall Festival Committee, and she wants student volunteers. You should both sign up." William glanced at Lily, who nodded enthusiastically. "We're in." The Fall Festival became their shared mission, bringing them together with students from all backgrounds. William used his engineering skills to design game booths accessible to children with disabilities, while Lily wrote compelling promotions that appeared in the school newsletter. On festival day, the Westfield grounds transformed into a celebration of autumn. Families from across Boston attended, including many from their old neighborhood near Lincoln Elementary. Robert Hayes arrived with Miguel and Elena Morales, the adults chatting comfortably, the months of working together having fostered genuine respect. "Look at them," Lily nudged William, nodding toward their parents. "They actually look like friends now." "Maybe they are," William suggested. As they manned their carnival booth together, William reflected on their journey. "Remember when you first stood up for me, when Trent pushed over my wheelchair?" Lily smiled. "You were so scared. Now look at you, organizing events, standing up to bullies yourself." "All because of you," William said sincerely. "No," Lily corrected. "You always had it in you. You just needed someone to believe in you first." From across the festival grounds, Robert Hayes watched the two children, his son, once isolated and fearful, now confidently engaging with classmates, and Lily, the brave girl whose intervention had changed everything. "They've come a long way," Miguel Morales observed, following Robert's gaze. "They have," Robert agreed, "and so have we." Eleanor joined them, smiling as she watched Lily help a younger child win a prize at their booth. "When she stood up for William that day, I never imagined where it would lead." None of them had. A simple act of childhood courage had created ripples that transformed two families, bridged divided worlds, and taught everyone involved about the true meaning of friendship and courage. As the festival continued around them, William and Lily shared a private smile, the unspoken understanding that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The millionaire's son and the janitor's daughter who had discovered that the strongest bonds are forged not by circumstance, but by character.